I'm Skella, I'm tired, and I know why you clicked on this video, so I'm not gonna waste your time. Skylanders. I have loved Skylanders for the majority of my life, and therefore, these little dudes have had plenty of time to live in my head rent-free every single day. I think about Skylanders more than any normal person should. And that is why I started thinking, hey, what if I met some of these dudes in real life? Now, I think it goes without saying that just because a fictional character is nice and sweet in the world that they live in, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be a terrifying encounter if you were to meet them in real life. People say they want Pokemon in real life, but if I saw a Dusknoir outside, I'd probably go into cardiac arrest. So, yeah, that's all this video is. Listing off Skylanders that would cause me to shit myself if I met them in real life. Sorry if this is too niche for some of you, but I'm not sorry. I don't care. I made this for fun. You can leave if you want. And starting at number 10, I realized I did not have my microphone plugged in for the first half of this video, but I'm not gonna re-record it. That's what kind of video this is gonna be. Anyways, nice and simple one. Number 10, Hoodsickle. Pretty understandable reasons. Hoodsickle's bios make him out to be a pretty chill guy, but you can't tell me if you saw Hoodsickle on your nightly walk you wouldn't think you were meeting the Angel of Death.
It is hot as hell in this funky ass, hot ass room I'm in. Is that the Grim Reaper?
Reasonably frightening, but not that much substance. That's why he's at number 10.
What?
Okay, number 9, Starcast. Same fear, opposite reason. Don't get me wrong, Starcast is probably one of my favorite Skylanders designs ever. It's beautiful, it's amazing, it's so rad. But if this four-armed, celestial, biblical being manifested before me, I would think I was meeting God, and not a merciful one. The fear I would have would be, primal and religious. He should be saying, "Be not afraid" to me. And I would still very much be afraid.
Scientists were able to mimic Nesyamun's voice by recreating his mouth and vocal cords with a 3D printer. It allowed them to produce a single sound.
I came!
Okay, number 8, generic, but I personally think a very understandable one, Graveclobber. I mean, what more do I need to say than that he's a big, wet, 9-foot walking corpse? A vengeful corpse, might I add. Have you read his backstory? It is it's metal as hell, but it's very dark. Look, there's not a lot of, classic horror monsters that personally scare me, like zombies and vampires and such. I don't know why, but mummies just stress me out. I think it was ever since I saw that scene in the Haunted Mansion, the old one with Eddie Murphy. That one scene caused me so much distress, it, altered my psyche. So, yeah, don't like mummies. A big, wet, scary one is not gonna make me feel any safer.
Later.
Bye.
Okay, so far on this list, all of the entries have been entirely based on the characters' outside appearance and not their actual behaviors, and I promise this is the last one that's like this. Number 7 is Eyebrawl. I had to include at least one giant on this list, and Eyebrawl I feel like is the one that would cause me the most, panic. Picture you're out on a walk on, a foggy day, and off in the distance you see this impossibly huge armored being with a single eye. Think those old, Siren Head animations. My immediate thought would be, oh, we're in the end times. This is Armageddon. This is Doomsday, and that's Satan coming to claim us. I feel like this entry is specifically targeting people with megalophobia, which I don't have, but I don't think you need it to find that prospect terrifying.
Unicorns, what's your favorite food?
Children.
Oh.
Alright, number 6. I feel like this one would be kind of mandatory for this list. It's Ghost Roaster. Now, before I say anything, I will say that I will be very, very biased because Ghost Roaster is in fact my favorite Skylander. On appearance alone, he is quite frightening, I will say,
Definitely hell demon material at first glance. Now, behavior-wise, I feel like people give Ghost Roaster a hard time. They say that he's purposefully evil and stuff. I don't agree with that. He's fighting for the greater good and for his paycheck the same way every other Skylander is. Get off his back. Sorry, I was way too close to the mic. Anyway, what's scary here is the prospect of your ghost being consumed. Ghost Roaster eats ghosts, that's his whole thing. But, like, what does that do? Like, a ghost is, you know, a wandering spirit. They cannot reach the afterlife. What happens when they get eaten? Do they go to the afterlife, or do they, like, disappear entirely? The thing that's scary about Ghost Roaster for me is, like, just considering what this implies. What does this mean? Ghost Roaster scares me, I guess, on an existential level, if we're gonna put it that way. But also, he is just a little bit scary to look at, so that's why he's number 6. Anyway.
Okay, what's going on here? Why is everything chrome?
Everything is chrome in the future.
Number 5 is Blastertron. Not because he's scary appearance-wise, but purely because of what he's capable of. Firstly, he is technology from the far distant future. Like, canonically, he is from the future. So, we can't be 100% sure of what he's capable of, or just the extent of his ability. And the reason that's scary is because if you don't know, if you haven't seen his, like, Imaginator's bio, the only reason that he's, like, a sensei on the good side in Imaginators is because there's, like, a good and evil switch somewhere on his back, I guess, that they just flipped over to good. And they never said at any point that they disabled that switch, or, like, kept it in place, or got rid of it. So, all it would take is Blastertron falling backwards wrong, and he could just be evil again? Like, that is way too accessible. Why are we just letting him walk around with that? Letting him walk around with his morality switch dangling out? I'm sorry, I don't know why I said it like that, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this is worrying. This is concerning. You know, one slip on a banana peel is all it would take, and he would just go on a laser cannon rampage. Blastertron's a safety violation. Moving on.
Oh, my ball!
Alright, number 4 is Wrecking Ball, and I think he should be put in some kind of containment unit. So if you haven't read Wrecking Ball's backstory, basically he was a magic grub being used for some wizard stew, and this is never explained how he did this, but he consumed all of this wizard's, like, stew, and then he just, like, expanded. He grew into the size that he is now, and the first thing that he did upon gaining this size is attempt to eat the wizard. And in original prints of this story, they imply that he ate that wizard. It wasn't until later that they were like, oh no, he spat him out, he's fine. I feel like they're just covering it up. I think he ate that guy. I think Wrecking Ball killed that man. In other, like, official flavor text, Wrecking Ball is described as reckless and sort of animal-like. I don't think we should just be letting this thing roam around so freely. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Wrecking Ball. He's cute. He's a cute little goober. But I feel like this is something we should keep in, like, a government lab, and not, I don't know, fighting for our freedom. He's destructive, he has a force field, he's always hungry, he's consuming everything around him. He sounds like something from an alien invasion movie, you know what I mean? Like, this is something that would crawl out of an asteroid and start wreaking havoc. I love Wrecking Ball with all my heart, but I would not feel safe around him. He's number 4.
But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My guns.
Oh. Wow.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Wow.
Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot them in the back. But I don't run so good either. Anyway, you guys all think I'm a hero, and I'll accept that responsibility.
Alright, number 3, Trigger Happy. Where do I begin? Trigger Happy is one of the few Skylanders whose bio just straight up says they have no idea where he came from. And that worries me a little bit. Where did he come from? What hole did he crawl out of? What tube did he escape from? What god did he anger? But that's not what scares me about him. What scares me is this sort of innate, primal thirst for violence that he seems to have. I mean, just at a surface level, he is quite clearly very erratic and unstable, and we've decided to leave him in control of two gigantic revolvers like they're Nerf guns. And the thing that makes him so fun to play as in the actual game is what makes him honestly the most scary. His abilities are so destructive and unpredictable. The most notable one being the upgrade that lets his coin bullets ricochet off the walls. Completely uncontrolled and unpredictable. That could hit and kill a civilian. But Trigger Happy wouldn't care, and I can prove to you that he doesn't care about the safety of civilians. So, in the Skylanders Book of Magic and Tech, there's a short story about Flameslinger and Trigger Happy having a target practice contest. Flameslinger suggests that their goal should be to shoot over a passing blimp. We're gonna completely gloss over that these Skylanders are using civilian transportation as target practice, because that's not what we're talking about. Anyway, Flameslinger shoots over it just fine. But Trigger Happy has such a primal thirst for destruction that it outright says that he hits it on purpose. He fires multiple rounds at this blimp and tears it to ribbons. Trigger Happy. There could have been people on that blimp. There probably were people on that blimp. That's attempted murder. But does Trigger Happy care? No. He's just doing a silly little jig like the silly little guy he is. What a fucking monster. Keep this thing away from your children.
I don't know what this is, but it's kind of hot.
Alright. Number 2 might get some people arguing with me, but hear me out. Wildstorm. While Trigger Happy is scary to me the way that, like, a chimpanzee with rabies would be, Wildstorm is scary to me the way that, like, a hitman is. Trigger Happy shoots everything that moves. Wildstorm? He would have intent. And that's what's frightening. First of all, look at him. Like, that's a death omen. Secondly, his backstory has all the right setup for a villain origin story, which we're lucky he doesn't have, but I'm just saying, he has reasons. Lastly, he can turn into a big fuck-off werewolf creature. Which is scarier, sword-wielding hitman vibes or a prowling monster? Get yous a mans that can do both. Now, Wildstorm's a little bit conflicting because all the things I find scary about him are also all the things I find hot about him, but we're not going to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Damn. Damn, boy. Damn, boy!
Point is, he scares me more than Trigger Happy because if he went out of his way to kill me, I feel like I'd deserve it. Alright, here's some honorable mentions before number 1. Firstly, Whirlwind, not because I find her as a person scary, but just because she can conjure black holes whenever she feels like it. Girlie, don't do that. You can't be ripping holes in space-time just because it's fun. Secondly, Camo, only because of this entry in the Book of Life and Undead that lists his quote-unquote garden pranks, and one of them is Chainsaw Surprise? What does that mean? Some of these sound like saw traps. Lastly, Highvolt, because he's a cop.
Right, you come to kill me and I go for me knife stuck down my sock. So you see me bend and you come for me, but I flip you over my shoulder and stab you. Come on, kill me. And I said, not now. People are watching.
Alright. I know this might be controversial, but I am standing my ground on this one. Number 1, Chop Chop. Chop Chop is an ancient undead war machine built for slaughtering. We are so lucky that he has some semblance of free will. If Chop Chop just woke up and chose violence one day, there would be no survivors. Have you ever played as Chop Chop? It's fun, but that's also what makes him scary. He can just mow down people like nothing. If a guy pulls up to you wielding Demon Blade of the Underworld, you're passing away, no arguments. His weapons are described as having vampiric magic. What does that mean? What's vampiric magic? Does it suck your life force out? Or worse, does it suck your blood? Even the Skylanders themselves think Chop Chop is frightening. I'm just saying, we can take off Blastertron's switch. I can duck and cover from Trigger Happy. I can book a flight away from Wildstorm. But if Chop Chop snaps, there's nothing we can do. I know a few other undead Skylanders also have this ability, but those like bone spikes he can conjure, what are those? Where do those come from? Whose bones are those? I don't care what you say about the previous entries. Chop Chop is number one for me purely because of the sense of urgency I would feel to get away from him. He's like that video of the knife-wielding tentacle. Chop Chop scares me like the way that police dogs do. And that's it. That's it. The video's over. Thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun making this. This was just something really goofy that I had in mind. I am currently, at the time of recording this, currently in the middle of working on my next animation. I don't know when that'll be done, but I hope you like it when it comes out. Tell me in the comments, what Skylanders are you afraid of? I'd love to hear it. What would you change about this ranking? What are your feelings on it? And if you really, really like this video, feel free to subscribe. It would really motivate me to keep going. And like this video to die instantly. Goodbye!